And then this one is one that I'm working on, not done with yet. You can see there's a lot there's a lot of bookmarks here that have to be shifted over. These ones on the edge are going to have to be put out here towards the middle. And then what I did in my ECO, I've got these scanned in on the computer as well, so I've got both. I can do either or. PC Chess Club, some of the books we have on the bookshelf, some of the books we have scanned. We have a backup copy. We've gotten rid of the hard copy. We just have our own personal copy. And we use that for research, scholarship, for teaching, for educational purposes only. And down here, the markers that are at the bottom, those are all ones that had footnotes with a lot of lines. Generally, it's over 200 lines. So like you go to here, okay, that one said, or no, not lines, footnotes. Yeah, I'm so sleep deprived. Yeah, this one here, A21, it has 5 sections, 285 footnotes, 46 lines, but it's 5 sections. That's the key. That's the whole key to this thing. You go through these sections. Let me get up here where you can, where I can see. Yeah, where you can see, where I can see also. But there's 16 lines here. Like here, 98 footnotes, section 1. And then section 2, you go from 98 to 146. I don't know what that is off the top of my head. I'm thinking 46, 49 maybe. I'm thinking maybe 49 footnotes in there. And then you go to, from the 146, it jumps to 189. And then in this other last section, as you can see, then it's all footnotes. In the last section, that's where you get your 285, goes from 189 to 285. Well, you can do the basic math on that and say, okay, if it was 190 to 285, that would be about 95. And then because it's 189, about 96. That's a rough estimate. It's pretty close to 96 footnotes. And then you get into, these are all sections. Those are called sections. Then you have groups and subgroups. Like we have branches. Okay, this section right here, you have these variations. There's 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then these would be called subvariations. Okay, so what would happen is you would have, there's no way, as I would say, there is no way in hell, with it being 722, that I am going to break out all those chess pieces. It takes me an hour and a half to set up. And my attitude is screw it. Screw it, the hell with it. Tomorrow's another day. We're going to get out here early. I did not know there would be people out here today. They didn't reserve the shelter. They just popped in and showed up, and there's nothing I can do about it. I'm not going to pay $40 to reserve a shelter just so that I can come out here and put chess pieces on tables. That's not going to be happening. No, I personally am not paying $40 to decorate tables with chess pieces just so I can take that camera and get that one camera shot. No. We'll come out another time when there's not hordes of people out here, and we can just set up all the pieces on there. But we can film some other stuff tonight. We can do that because we do have light, at least for another hour. So let's go on and cover some of this. The way this works the way this works here is you have this section, this is called section 5, and then these are going to be groups. Okay, so you would actually have group 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so in this third group, that's where they all branch out. And then once you have the section and you have these groups, then you have branches like knight G5, and then it's either knight F6, bishop E7, or C6. Now, God, where do we start? We're gonna have to go from square one, bring some of you guys up to speed. What happens is you take this section, I'm sleep deprived, so bear with me. You take this section and then you take these groups right here, okay, and then you see where they branch out. So remember, a group, when you want the definition, the groups are like here, 1, 2, 3. These 3 lines are part of that knight F6, that 5th move, knight F6. I can't talk today, sleep deprived. Knight F6, okay? They are a branch, okay? Like here, these are branches. This is one group, okay? And then these are called subgroups, okay? These are subgroups. Like right here, E3, C5, C6, G6, okay? Those are subgroups. C6 and G6, those are subgroups. And sometimes they're known as subvariations. Like you'll get into here, and this will be, all of these would be called variations. And then like down here, these would be called subvariations. But an easier way that I found, when you have to go through thousands of these things, I mean literally thousands, you add up a couple hundred footnotes, another couple of hundred, couple of hundred. It's real easy to get 3,000 or 4,000 footnotes total. Depends how big your repertoire is and what all that you play or what all you study. But going back with the example, the way that it works is this. You take this section right here, and then you take these groups. Group 1, bishop G5. Group 2 is what we would call the knight D2 group. Then you have the knight G5 group. Okay, so you don't say, but wait a minute, didn't you say it's like down here, knight G5, you have the knight F6 group, the bishop E7 group, the C6 group? No. Nope. Back up. These are your groups. White's move determines your group, okay? Because it branches out here with black. So the first move they show, which is usually white, that's the group. Unless they end with white and it starts showing black's moves. Then in that case, this is like your main line in this A21. That's your main line for that section. That's not the main line of A21. That's the main line of section 3. Let's back up. We're going to be getting off on a tangent here, I can tell, I swear to God. Section 1, section 2, right here. Section 3, okay? So we're going to go right from the start, A21, C4, E5, knight C3. And then the same thing here, knight C3, second move, bishop B4. So here, you go knight C3, D6, okay? And then it branches from knight C3, D6, knight C3, D6, knight C3, D6. All of these are the same. Hey, don't chew your water bowl up. Come here, little Miss Henri, Miss Smarty Pants. I'm gonna have to take that water bowl away. Nope. I will get you a drink when it's drink time, but we're not gonna let you eat your water bowl and tear it up. It's not a chew toy. You gotta train them when they're little. Otherwise, they'll wreak havoc on you. They'll grow up with no discipline, be like a weed. Instead of a flower in a garden, it'll be a weed. They'll grow up like a weed. So anyway, getting back with this. A21 branches out, starts with night C3. And we will pull up from the whole 20 series, as it's known, the A20 series. Now, I'll show you. And this little backward L means without knight F6 or knight C6. Now, yeah, they've got ones with knight F6, but it also covers a lot of ones that don't have knight F6 on the second move. Then second move, knight F6, knight F6. Then you go over here, 25 on down, second move is knight C6. Even though third move has knight F6, there's usually not transposition. It is more when you're playing English 4 knights right here, it's always knight C6 first. Knight C6 to guard, right here, to guard your pawn. Okay? So like here, they play G3 on the 4th move only after both people develop their other knights. Let's go back and take a look at A21. Yeah, at PC Chess Club, things change a lot. We've got a lot of consistency, but sometimes we just like to just change things up and be spontaneous. You know, it's like having a wide opening repertoire. You don't have to play the same thing like it's set in stone. You can change it up and play something else. And you'll see here, knight C3, D6, G3. And then here, like on the 4th move, it's only with the queen, knight F6, but knight C3. Here are 2 knights for white, C3 and F3, but you got to go down to the 5th move before you hit knight F6, and it's common. No matter what white does, that is a common thing for black to get that kingside knight out, okay? And that's probably why they said in A21 that there's no knight F6 and knight C6 on the second move, because on the second move, it's all D6. It's D6. Unless you go back to the very beginning, C4, E5, knight C3, bishop B4, almost like a Nimzo Indian. It's kind of like a Nimzo Indian. And here it hits G3, third move, or D4. And that's why when they play D4 and then E takes, queen takes, then it hits knight F6 or knight C6. You can see right there on the 4th move, it's standard. Knight F6 and then knight C6 and then F6. And that's why you go through and you study it and you learn patterns. You learn the patterns. You learn the sections, like this whole section. When I first started, when I wanted to be a grandmaster, I didn't start by going through line by line. The first thing I started with was the analysis. I started with the analysis, well, not analysis, I'm sleep deprived. The evaluation or assessment, like equal, slight advantage for white, unclear. So the first one with bishop G5, bishop E7, that's C4, E5, knight C3, D6, knight F3, F5, D4, E4, then bishop G5, bishop e7, equal. They equalize as early as the 10th move. And I would look at what it was, what was the final assessment, and then what was the number. Like most of these are move 13. Here it comes out at move 10. That might be significant. They equalize really quick. So if you want to play for a win in this section, section 5, don't play bishop g5 because it's pretty well played out. The next one, where they play 5th move, knight d2, knight f6. In that group, it is slight advantage where it goes to c5, unclear with c6, g6 is unclear but with compensation for the material. Somebody's probably going to lose a pawn, but they're going to be compensated for the material. So you choose that section, that would be good, okay? So basically knight d2, that whole group in that section 5, that whole group, because there's only 3 of them, that whole group is unclear or with compensation, and black has the choice. See, black makes the choice on both of those. It's the 6th move, e3, c5, or c6 or g6. See, so black has the option. Either way, they can steer it into unclear or unclear but with compensation. So they can keep the waters muddied, complicated, really unclear. What does that mean? It might mean you got the chance now. Maybe one side has the chance now, but in the end game, the other side would be winning. So it's kind of unclear, or it's just chaotic. It's just chaos. No telling. It's just unclear. It's just chaos. My battery's about to die. And then the next section, the knight g5, if you don't go retreat knight to d2, you stick that knight out there in black's camp on the king's side, knight g5. They automatically play knight f6 for black. But the problem is whether white chooses f3, equalizes, g3, slight advantage. And so you probably wouldn't want to play knight f6. I mean, you would, but if they play g3, you're done because they have a slight advantage and they can build on it. Let's go ahead and change the battery out. Now we changed the battery, took a bathroom break, so we're good to go. Now we can actually get something done. Thank God. Now, where was I? What was I saying? Oh. Okay, you would not want in this section, section 5, which is c4, e5, knight c3, d6, knight f3, f5, attacking the center with the king bishop pawn, d4, and then e4. Okay, right there, you can see it. You say, oh, that's copyright. You just showed copyright, dude. Oh, you just did copyright violation. That's criminal copyright. Oh, you're going to jail, dude. Nope, not at all. Well, you're going to get sued. That's copyright violation. Nope, not at all. For educational and teaching purposes, for scholarship, for commentary, if you are illustrating a point, making a point, such as that's what I was just talking about, and then I showed you in the book, that's exactly what it says, okay? I'm using it for teaching purposes, trying to teach you something here, and if I have to show something to verify it, then I will. If it's part of the lesson, then I will. Okay. I don't want to show you everything. You need to buy the book. You can get this book, ECO 4th edition. You should be able to get it from the informant's website, chessinformant.org. You could also check online to get a copy of this, like Amazon or eBay, and also get the CD. We have the CD, which is in chess-based format, and it looks just like this. only you can click on the moves and it'll just jump to that position. Now, like if you were to click on, say, knight g5 and you clicked on knight f6, it'll open up a chessboard and then it'll show a whole bunch of analysis and it'll show like where all this stuff branches out. If you go in the settings in ChessBase and you tell it you want it to do table format, it's going to be like this. And it's going to have all of this, like where you see the lines going across, meaning it's the same move, like the 36th line, there's one for white, one for black. 37th line, the same move for white, different move for black. 38, 39, they're identical. Knight g5, bishop e7, okay? But 38 and 39, they're identical until you get to the 6th move. Then it changes. How does it change? Well, when you get to the 6th move, it's knight h3 and then c6. They go up to g5, then they go back to h3. So they're over like you've got from knight f3, 3rd move, 5th move, they go knight g5, and then 6th move, when you branch to this line, remember, groups and then branches, okay? Or groups, subgroups, and then they branch out again, and then they become sub-branches. And all these little footnotes, they become little footnotes, or what we call sub-branches of sub-branches. It's confusing, I know, it's confusing sometimes. Just follow along what you can. I'll cover this real quick since this is what this video is turned into. How to make sense of ones like the ECO or MCO when you have all these evaluation or assessment signs, and then you have all this here pages and pages of, or like not pages, but lines and lines of moves. In the MCO, modern chess openings, they don't follow a row format or row approach. They use a column approach. They start up at the top and all the moves are like white and black, and then where you see the numbers, instead of your numbers, what move number it is being across the top row, they go on the side. And down, all these symbols are at the bottom. They're on the bottom row going all the way across. Now, going back to our example here where they branch out, 38 and 39, right? Okay, knight h3, c6, okay. Then 39 stays the same, e3, knight f6. It is only until you get to that 8th move before it changes. It's only until you get to the 8th move when it's going to change. It's not when you follow those two lines. Stop what you're doing. Listen up. Listen up. It is only when you go out all the way to the 8th move. Hey, stop. Be nice. Quit. They both want to try to be king of the hill, the puppy and the other dog. I'll show you what I'm talking about so you guys can see. They're not really fighting like, oh my god, they're gonna kill each other, the big dog's gonna kill the puppy, oh my god, OMG. No, they're playing. That's how dogs play. Hey, stop. And then you can see if they start playing rough, if he starts playing rough, I get onto him and then I separate him. Now see, he's wagging his tail. If I get her wagging her tail, then yeah, that'll be better. But boy, they want to go at it all the time, I tell you. They want to go at it with each other constantly. Like, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. When I deal with the little kids, oh my goodness. They go at it all the time. Oh my goodness. Yeah, you got to play referee, break them up, separate them. See, there he is right there. See, they're not doing anything. They're just playing around. But going back to here with our example, okay. 7th move, E3, knight F6, okay. What I probably should do, you guys would probably enjoy, is if I just set up a chessboard, right? Set up a chessboard, set up the pieces. We'll do that in another video when we've got more time. And we can open this up like in a chess-based format or something. I can open up multiple board windows and I can show you side-by-side comparison. Now, from here, we go, see, they're going at it again. Sandy, Shadow, come here, Shadow. Come here, Shadow, baby. See, that's how you separate them. You think you're king of the hill, don't you, right? You're king of the hill, you're gonna show her, right? Are you gonna show him, Sandy? You say you're king of the hill. Or no, you're queen of the hill, because you're a girl dog, huh? You're queen of the hill. He's not king of the hill. Girls rule, boys drool. I'm queen of the hill. Is that what you want to say, Sandy? If only dogs could talk, right? Well, enough of the comedy or comedic moment. Getting back to the lesson at hand, how do you make sense out of all this? Now, they both, 38, you follow it across, unclear. 39, follow it across, unclear. Okay? And they're going to give you the first 13 moves, and then whatever your footnote is, then it'll branch out to something else. So where you try to make sense of it is you start looking at the footnotes. 39, it is the 9th move, white and black, 10th move, white, 11th move, black, 12th move, white and black. And then, of course, when you get to the very end, then they always have a footnote for you so you can follow up on it. But when you go one line up, 38, on that 8th move, there is another alternate for white and black. Then you go to the 9th move, white and black for 39, but only for black. So this is a really tricky opening because 8 and 9 are the key turning points. Because when you look at line 38, footnote 232, 233, they're both black moves. Move 8, move 9, so, and move 10. If your opponent is taking a while, then it's because they could be considering those other options. And then you're going to have to go look up what the other footnotes are. Okay? You're going to have to see, is there much there? We're going to do that here in a second. Just hold on. Move 12. There's another branch. There may be another branch on move 13. So how many branches for black in this line? 1, 2, 3, 4. And then here, possibly 5, but 4 that we know of. 4 white. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guaranteed. And then in line 39 for black, we have 1. Well, if you take that off, then it would be 4. So here you have 1, 2, 3, 4, possibly 5, but 4 guaranteed. For white, 1, 2, 3. So that tells you you need to go through and make a little bit deeper study on that, because there's a lot of footnotes, a lot of branches, and that's probably why it's unclear. And it's probably really good for white, because you can see all these footnotes where black has tried other moves. So then you go to the next level up and you look and see the what's called corresponding footnotes. Hey, quit. I'm going to separate these two airheads like little hillbillies. like little hillbillies. Come here, Sandy Sue. Since Mr. Henri Pants will not leave you alone, or you won't leave him alone, whatever the case may be, I'm gonna separate you. Yeah, I don't think that's an actual word, separate you. I think it's separate you. I'm gonna separate you. Separate you two. Now, you can just go at it. Come here, come here. Yeah, that's it. As far as you're gonna go, either one of you. Let's get back over here to the ECO, see if we can get something productive done today for what time we got. You can see our sun's going down. That's why I said there's no way in hell that I'm gonna get out here and unpack all this to be setting it up when the sun's going down, and we're just gonna have these lights on. As I've demonstrated several times, multiple times, the lighting is sucky at best. Sucky, there's a word, sucky lighting. Yeah, the lighting sucks. If you're trying to do something like this, like read, you need to be filming it in the daytime, not trying to film it at nighttime. Trust me, there's not real good lighting at nighttime, even with all these lights on. We'll come out tomorrow when tomorrow's another day. We will come out tomorrow when there is more light to work with. I can pack a lunch, get here early, try to make a day of it, and have plenty of daylight to spare. But no promises with it being Memorial Day. There might bound to be somebody that will come out here, some family or other. I'm so sleep deprived. Some family, somebody or other that may come out here to do like what you saw earlier with people over there barbecuing and just eating at the tables. That's what most people do. They just come out here like a holiday. They're going to come out to the park with their family. Let's go to the park where they got all the picnic tables, and we'll just bring some food and barbecue. Yeah, sure, sounds good. I'll be there. I'll meet you there. I'm just trying to spread out all these chess sets and clocks because we need a lot of tables in order to put 24 chess sets. And that's not going to happen with a couple of 6-foot or 8-foot folding tables at your house. No, you better have a lot of folding tables. Excuse me. Now, let's get back to this example at hand. Line 3839 in this Bishop E7 group, which is actually a subgroup. Well, no, not a subgroup. It's a branch out of the Knight G5 group. This is the section 5, and then you have a Knight G5 group, and then you have 3 branches. So we've explored one branch, branch 1, branch 2. I'm so sleep deprived. Branch 1, branch 2 we've explored. Now we go to branch 3. Okay, we're going to see 40 through 46, and because you have a 0 there, you're going to have to add one number. See, 41 to 46. It's not, 40 to 46. Let's see, that must be 6. Well, it's actually 7. Because if you count 41, then if you count that second digit, I feel like I'm talking to some of the kids watching our videos. Basically, from 41, 42, all the way up, the singles column, if there's little kids watching this, that's going to be numbers 1 through 6, and then the 0 also counts as a number. So what happens is you actually have 7 lines in this group, okay, in this C6 branch. It's out of this Knight G5 group. There's 3 groups here, Bishop G5 or Knight G5, but Bishop G5 plays out to a draw according to the ECO, and then the other one is just 2 major choices, either Knight D2, you have Knight C3, Knight F3, then the next move is to bring the knight from the king side over to D2, or you either need to retreat the knight, that's standard play in this section of A21. Either take your knight on the king side and retreat over to the queen side, put both your knights over on the queen side, or you need to start almost thinking attack, 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 but not really. You just need to start pushing. Put your knight on G5, start pushing your pieces up over on the king side. And that's why when you get into that group, this is your section 5. These are your 3 groups. You're going to have 1, 2, 3 branches. We've covered branch 1 and branch 2, or branches 1 and 2. Now we're covering this 3rd branch, okay? From here, the first thing we do is we follow it out. Here's what you ought to do. You really want to learn this? If you don't want to be a bonehead, that was a term when I was in the military. When I was in the military, they had a drill instructor that would go around calling all the cadets and recruits bonehead. Shut up, bonehead. Drop and give me 20, bonehead. Everybody was bonehead to this guy. Everybody was bonehead. So anyway, if you want to be smart, you want to save time, either one or both, put your little bookmark up here to block that off, okay? Just put that little mark, put your piece of paper or something. It doesn't matter. Hell, you could take this book. You take this book right here. You can make do and make it work. I promise you, my friend, it will still work. You can move that out of the way. Put that right there, just like so. Wait a minute, get this out of the way. Put that just like so. Ta-da! There you go. See? Easy peasy. Now, on a serious note, comedy aside, what do we have to look at? We have a slight advantage for white, another slight advantage for white, and I would encourage you to, what I would encourage also to do is write these symbols down. First, do nothing. Stop, halt, stop what you're doing. I know you're going to be watching this video on YouTube, but pause the video for a second and write the number A21. That's your ECO, Encyclopedia of Chess Openings code. ECO code, that's what it's called, code A21. Now, what you do is you make a plus sign with an equal underneath it. That is a slight advantage for white. Then I want you to make a sideways figure 8 symbol. It doesn't matter. You can put an equal sign next if you want to. In fact, just go ahead and write plus over equals, and then your next column or the next one underneath it, write an equal sign. And then underneath that, I want you to write a sideways figure 8. Now, go through and start counting them. The first one you have in this example is the plus over equal, slight advantage for white. We got 1, 2. Just go line by line. Just go right on down the list. 1, 2. We got 2 of them. So mark that off. Mark a number 2. Then take your equal. Go right on down the list. 1, 2. Write a 2. Then take your figure 8 sideways and count them. 1, 2, 3. So from that example with 7 of those, what you have is you have 2 of them that are slight edge for white, and then 2 that are just dead even, and then 3, not 2 but 3 that come out unclear. Now here's where it gets a little messy. Okay, you're going to have to put these now in order. Instead of at first finding out what do you have the most of, now you're going to have to go back and put them in order. The first one being slight advantage for white. Out of that, you go to that group, and then you go to the section, the group, and the branch. Out of that C6 branch, what's going to happen is you have a retreat to knight h3, and then black makes a choice, either knight f6, or knight a6. Okay, so black actually has a choice, either one. White's probably not going to play that because black can steer the game into unclear. So you have the next major branch, which would be called a sub-branch, which is your G3. Move this crap out of the way. I can't get my work done with that crap in the way. Okay, to the sixth move, it is G3. Starts out C4, E5, knight C3, D6, knight F3, F5. Junction point or turning point, D4 and then E4. White plays D4 to challenge, because in section 4, it's D4, E takes D4, and then white's queen takes the pawn. In other words, white puts the queen pawn up there, black takes it, white recaptures with the pawn. Not happening here, because that's on the third move out. Okay, that's right off, and most of it becomes equal. Most of it does become equal. It's real, I'll put it this way, it's real easy to equalize. Like, black has a choice where they take the pawn, white throws the pawn out there and black takes it, and white recaptures with a queen. Okay, black plays knight f6, but white plays b3 or whatever the other variation is, and it equalizes. So you go to the next option, g3. Well, you're going to have to back yourself up. If white plays g3, you play knight f6, they can play g3 and steer it to a slight advantage. So that's out, and that explains why there's not much on that one. Because if you play it, white has two options on the next move. Move 5, they can either play dead even and just go ahead and play for a draw, play for a level position, or they could play g3 and build on that. Actually, it's g3, b3. They're going to fianchetto both bishops. They'll tuck both bishops in the corner. So it's actually your fourth move that is important in that section, section 4. The important move for black is not the kingside knight. Wrong move there, Charlie. It's, yeah, wrong move, Charlie. It's actually knight c6. You don't want to bring out the king knight. I'll tell you why. Because you go all the way across, and in both examples, they tuck the bishop on the king side, g6, bishop g7. But if you play that knight c6 first, attacking white's queen, you put them on the defense and make them retreat. That plays out dead even. And then on the sixth move, that plays dead even because they retreat, and then you can bring your other king's knight out. And when they play the g3 option, instead of it being slight advantage, now it becomes level. Lesson to be learned there, my friend. Lesson to be learned, called move order and move sequence. What you'll need is you'll need to know, how does it branch out. Remember the other one, the b3, the fifth move? If you bring the king side knight out, they play b3 and it becomes level. Okay, over here, if you play it to knight c6 and then they retreat the queen, you develop your king's knight, which is pretty much standard. When they play b3, it can be slight advantage, but black has two other options. Either move the pawn on the king side in front of the knight and put the bishop on g7, castle, put your rook on e8, throw your pawn out on d5, try to hit towards the center, and just try to start getting something going. It's level. It doesn't mean it's level dead, like the position is dead. That's why it's even chances, because it's just equalized. There's nothing there. No, that's a sharp position. That's a sharp position. Okay, I'll show you sometime. I'll show you what a dead level position is, and that's not it. Right here's your indicator. Develops the queen knight, develops the king knight, plays g6, bishop g7. He now has the bishop on the long diagonal. I'm just going to get you one here so you can see it. He's going to move this up, put the bishop here on the long diagonal, and then he's going to take, when he castles, he's got his king here, rook, moves it over, puts it on the other side. He's going to move that rook right here towards this E file. Why move it towards that E file? Because remember, it's C4, E5, and then D4, E takes D4. What that means is now with this open, when they played D4 and they took, this is open for black. So he's already got control on this file so far, control towards the long diagonal, but also more importantly, the bishop is hitting that D4 square. The knight on C6 is hitting the D4 square, and he's got this. He's got this whole file, this whole section. So when it says equal, don't be misled and say, oh, it must be dead even. Nope, excuse me. Nope, it's anything but dead even. And I think what we'll do is we will play that one out. I'll go ahead, yeah, hell, I'll just play one out for you and show you. Let me get a board. Let me get some pieces here, get a board set up, and I've got a big board over here. Screw that little board. Screw that little board, dude. I want that big board. I can hear you guys now. I want that big board, man. I don't want that little board. Well, it is your lucky day, my friend. Come here. Oh, how did you get free? No, no, no. You got to go back over here, little miss. Oh, no. Your name is Houdini. And you need to get your little butt right over there. I'm trying to do a video for YouTube in the middle of a little seminar lesson. So we're going to just use a standard set. Hold on, let's put this thing on a tripod. Now, let's get this stuff moved out of the way. Oh, and these work well too. Little fat notebook. It's called Little Fat Book. I don't know if it'll show up or not. If you guys can see that. Anybody on YouTube, when you're watching this video, leave in the comments below if you can make that out, the words Little Fat Book. I call it Little Fat Notebook. And what I did when I first started out in chess is I would write the name of the player, white and black. I'd write the date over here. And then I'd just start writing the moves all the way across. And I'd put a little comma if they took a long time to make a move. So when I go back over the game, I could tell where they were waiting a long time thinking about it before they'd move. And then I would check it on a computer and say, is this tricky? Is this obvious? It tells me things they don't know because I can see the follow-up move, comma. They took a long time to move. They played a weak move. They played a sucky move. Nope, this guy does not know those kind of positions. That's what it tells you. Now, let's set this board up and we will walk you through this so you guys can see it firsthand. Hold on. Make sure this thing doesn't fall over. Now, we will take this out, set up the pieces, just roll it on out, and let you guys take a look at it. We don't need that. This is just a raw, unscripted video. And because they had our spot, we have got ourselves off into a tangent today. So we have wound up doing a video about openings. This being the English opening, which is sometimes known in the A20 series, C4E5 is actually known as the, wait a minute, hold on. C4E5 is known as the Sicilian Dragon colors reversed, because typically that's how it plays out. It's like colors reversed, and it's almost like having an extra move, if that makes any sense to you guys. I hope that helps you out, or helps you out a little bit. Now, I will show you guys, walk you right through it, and explain to you. I know some of you watch the videos. You've heard me say in different videos, or you've seen the chessboards where I say that I play at a grandmaster level. I play at 2600. Well, I'm going to show you some understanding of a chess position. Show you understanding of a chess position, not just oh, I took a bunch of tests and here's what I think I play at based on all these tests. Now, it's going to start out like this: C4, E5, and then we're going to go to the line where they take. Then they move this up to secure that pawn to anchor it. It's not really to anchor it, it's to help get this bishop out and to put this pawn here. So once they go up, you can take, and your pawn will be there preventing them from doing anything up in this area. Usually, generally. Now, right away, they attack the center, they go back, they take, okay, right away. Now, here's where it changed. And I said, you don't want to go out this way because it becomes pretty much level. You don't want to do that. What you want to do is come here and start attacking. Right here, start attacking. So they're going to retreat back to D2. And then black comes out to here, develops his other knight, and then here's where it becomes different. You go here, B3, right there. Okay, so you got this long pawn chain like this. You got this long wall of pawns, or pawn chain. What's going to happen is black has three choices. He can either go out here, and that is going to wind up being a slight advantage for white, or he can go out to here, develop a piece, okay, and that is going to equalize. Or in the example that I said earlier where it says equal, I'll show you. It says equal, but it's not equal. It's anything but. Come here. Come here. Ooh, you keep getting free, don't you? Yep. Come here. Come here. We're going to have to do something different with you, little Sandy Sue. Yep. Yes, we are. Come here, little pooter butt. Come here. We're going to just work something out because you are a little Houdini, and I don't know how you keep getting free, but you keep getting free. I know that. You just keep getting free every time. I don't know what your deal is. I have no idea. I don't know how you're doing it, other than you're just twisting round and round and round on your rope until that snap link comes free.
And your buddy there, Shadow Baby, if he got free, he'd probably run out into the road and get hit by a car because he wants you to chase him. But you're a little sweetheart, so you're gonna be easy to catch. Yeah, I know. You want to chew my little keychain thing, little lanyard, don't you? Yeah, I know. Nope, nope, nope. Get over here. Nope. Sorry, little pooter butt. Come here. No. Ah. Get over there. That's as far as you're gonna go. As far as you're gonna go. You're welcome to come down here if you want to. You can come on down.
I'm trying to figure out what you're doing, but now I see what you're doing.
Yeah, we're making videos for YouTube.
You're playing chess.
Yeah. And I'm doing a video here where I take the book and turn the book into a video. Instead of just having moves in the book, you explain the idea behind the move. So instead of them just saying, well, I got the book and it's got the moves and it says equal, it must mean even Steven, it's equal. It's just dead even. No, that's where the experience part comes in. Really?
It's been a long time.
Mike, what's your name? Oh, well, come on down. Nice to meet you.
I live over there. I talk to you every once in a while.
Yeah.
That's one reason why I walk over here. Because usually you got everything
On all the tables?
Yeah. And I thought, I'm going to walk over there and see what that guy's up to.
Yeah. See, I'm doing this one here. That he won't bite. But I'm doing this one here showing them that the difference between it being dead even and it's not really dead even is what happens is the next choice, he's going to come out to here and then he's going to try to get something going, put this guy here, get something going first. So once he sees it, when Black sees this here, he knows what he's up to, he's going to get one up on him. He's going to beat him to the punch. He's going to get there first. And then this guy, he's going to try to tuck another one so he can get, this is all cleared out because he's got a pawn here. And if he takes him, he just puts him back and he can't get this knight. He can't get anything, no action, Jackson. He can't get anything going. So what'll happen is this guy, while he's busy doing this, and it'll take him at least another move to either go here or something, he's gonna castle because he's got this open already. He's got all that opened up. So what'll happen is he'll go the slow way. He's gonna kind of go about it a little slow, where Black is gonna get up here and be Speedy Gonzalez. He's gonna run this right over to here and control all of this. He can't put any pieces, like he can't get this up here with this, because if he goes here, he takes him, takes back. You know, if he goes here, he takes him. There's one. He takes him back. And it's just kind of a losing deal because he's give up two pieces for one. Almost kind of ridiculous to do because you're giving it up almost for nothing. So what happens is he comes out to here, okay? Now he'll push this pawn out, Mike. He'll bring this pawn. Now's the best time to do it. And there's a footnote, there's a branch, kind of like a fork in the road. This is the newer way of doing it. The older way of doing it, they didn't jump this on out here, just move it up one. But they're saying now, go here, because you kind of got a standoff going. You got 1-2 defenders and you got 1-2 attackers. But you got another one over here. So it's like he can do it, he could take it, and you do some trading, but you wouldn't get very far. It's better, when you see what he's about to do, it's better to let him go ahead and do that. Hello, Mr. Smarty Pants. Let him do that, because as soon as he does, he comes down here and takes away one of his main guys. Takes out his main guy, trades off the bishop long range piece for a more stealthy piece that can kind of sneak around in there. And then what'll happen is, as soon as he does, he'll come out to here, because he's going to pick those pieces up. If he takes this right there, he's going to pick this bishop up. And then once he goes across, it's kind of like, if he goes to here now, he can take this. Once he takes it back, because he's attacking his rook, if he would have just left it and he would have moved this guy over or even to here, he'd just retreat and be a piece ahead. He would get him on what we call tactics, a tactical shot. So he's going to come back like that generally, and then he'll pick this guy off. There's nothing there, because as soon as he castles, this is all protected. It's all secure. But the way they end up, before we get to that point right there, the way that this happens, he's back here. This guy's over here.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Can you hit stop or something? And that way I won't be in it? Or...
Oh, no, you won't be in it.
Oh.
No, you're not in it.
Okay. What I don't remember, okay, is the rook. Okay, you keep moving this thing around everywhere.
Yeah, when he castles, the only time in the game that he
I
can
don't
move
remember going around people. Either this thing went this way, or that way.
When he's going to castle,
I don't remember you just moving around.
Yeah,
somebody.
when the king's going to castle, he can go 2 squares either direction and put the rook on the other side. He'll put the rook, you can jump over him, you can move it around it. You just have to move the king 2 squares over, Mike, and then put the rook on the other side of the king. And that's castling. Some people play it, some people don't.
I don't remember that one. When I see you doing that, I go, what are you doing?
Yeah, some people play it. Some people don't play with the castling. But here's where it gets different. Where's he at? He was on here, knight d5. Okay. Now, you pick up where it left off, which is going to be just about what I predicted. I've never seen this before in my life. He plays knight to d5, clears that line, he takes it, and he's going to go for this attack. He's going to try to get something done about this queen. So he's going to bring this back. Where are we at? Yeah. He's just going to retreat, head home, and he'll do the same thing and retreat and head home. And then it's almost over. He's got one here because the bishop covers him, so he can do that. And he's not going to take it because the queen. If he takes it with his queen, bishop will take his queen. So he can't do it, but where it ends and it says equal, Zach Zilberman, Tel Aviv, 1991. Anybody can see that. Put that there on YouTube. You can see the proofs in the pudding. It is E3C6. What we do is white threatens the knight, black threatens the knight, and that's why they say dead even, but it's not really dead even, like it's over and done. There's no play, there's nothing left. They can't really get anything going. This is known as a sharp position, and what would happen is if you split the board down the middle, this is how I got to play at a 2600 level. That's Grandmaster level. You look at the board, everything king side, everything queen side. So on the queen side, the pawns are all dead even. They're all dead even over here. So if you take everything off the board, you can say that white has the advantage because they've got one pawn up. They've got one already moved. Or you can say black has the advantage, slight advantage, because black has an extra move. See, if they go 1, 1, 1, 1, and they're moving all one at a time, what happens is when they make their move, because that's how they played it out, when they start moving these guys up, can't get anything going, because he's going to have to go up, and when he does, see, he's going to get him. If he would have just went to here, same thing. And now, like this, he can go like that, stopping this whole deal here, this support idea. If he goes here like this, then it plays out to even, typically, or what happens is take, and it plays out even. But when you go back, that reserve move, that extra move, when he has that, there's a number of ways he can do it. That we know cancels out, because now he's got, if you took everything off the board, white has no extra waiting moves. As soon as he goes up, bam. So if you get this king over here, you get this king over here, what's going to happen is with just these two pawns for each side, just these 4 pawns on the board, black should have the advantage because he's got that extra waiting move. And that's what I said early on about when you've got him like this, just because he's one move up doesn't mean that he's going to be able to do much, because after they did their move, each one, it's now white's move. So if white goes up like this, all he's got to do is block him off, because now maneuver his king. If you say, well, what if they both maneuvered their kings? From here, if he goes up, one of his easy ways to do it is to let him just go ahead and continue that up, but he generally loses if he tries to jump. If he tries this and tries to get on up there first, because somewhere before that ever happens, there's going to be a waiting move in there. There's going to be a waiting move. Like this, you can block it up. That's pretty much a loss for white, because he can't do much. And you can get whole books on the end game. Some people will say, and they'll argue it all day long, and they'll say, well, this is actually advantage for white because he's pushing first. They say, okay, show me. And then it's going to determine whether he takes the outside or whether he does a mirror. If it's black's move and he does a mirror, you go here, then yeah, whoever has to move loses. That's called zugzwang. Whoever's move it is worse, from the frying pan to the fire. But if he does this here approach, like this and this, he goes up, okay, then white loses. Then it's a case of who moves first loses. When you're right here, white moves, black stops him, now white loses, because he's got no backup to go over here. And as long as black, if you take everything off the board, as long as black has the king somewhere over in here and white can't get up in there, if he can get there first, like this would be losing for white. Right here would be losing for white. Because, I mean, all of this off the board.
How did you get the king? Where?
I'm just making an example. Oh. Just making an example. It's called the endgame. And it's just an example. If we cleared all of this off, okay, we just move these guys out of the way, this would be losing for white. If it's white's move, white loses. I'll tell you why. Because if he goes here, and you say, well, he could go here, and he could work his way on in there, okay? It's too late, because no matter what he does, he's not going to get anywhere. You know, you go like this, you say, well, if he goes over in here.
If he goes here or there, all he's got to do is come in here.
Well, yeah, if he goes here, he's going to take the pawn. Anywhere away from this, he's going to take the pawn. Steps away, bam, goner. But it all happens from right there when it's white's move. Anywhere he moves, either here to guard the pawn or here to guard the pawn, he can go in. And it might work if you're playing somebody that doesn't know very much, it might work, but it might be the losing move of the day. And I'll tell you why. Because that same idea about trying to get a waiting move in there, where you want to kind of wait them out, because we'll play that. I'll show you an example of a not so good strategy. Okay, from here, he comes in, black goes in right away, right? He goes here, white has this right here, the king has this and this, and the pawn covers this pawn. The king has this square and this square, so he can't go here, can't go here, can't go there because of this pawn. He can't back straight up. He can't go straight up because of this guy, okay? All he can do if he wants to sit and not budge is this. And then once he takes, he goes over and takes, he goes like that. He can go this way or he can go this way to prevent him from coming straight back. Either one will prevent him, okay? And we're getting off on a tangent, but that's the idea behind it, of how would that play out. And it's not perfect. You can put it on a computer, and they have what's called nowadays, Mike, they have what's called a table base. What it means is there's a database. If you have 6 or less pieces, which this would be 6 or less pieces, okay? So you go back to here. If you had this right here, that computer will use that database. It'll use this king and these 2 pawns, and it will look at every single square these guys can go to. I think it should be a draw. It should be. If white can stick near the pawn, if he can maintain that and just keep going back and forth like this, and there's a reason why I think that, because it's called the opposition. it means like if you have these guys, if you're trying to get like this guy here, if you clear this off and you're trying to get this guy to the other side, as long as you got a guy in front, okay, or even if you got this guy right here, you go here, he can't go to there to be even with you. He's got to go back like this, or he's got to go that way. He's got to go somewhere, okay? Because if he goes here, you just go right on by him. But the idea is that if he has to move back, like when you go over, if it's your move, he has to move back, you go here. He wants to go here and follow that pattern because it comes out a draw. You say check, you go here, he goes here, well, we'll say go straight back, you go over, goes here, check, here, here, he goes back, goes over, goes here, move that guy out of the way, check, goes over, goes here, he goes back. Now he loses because he went the wrong way. Because now when he goes over, he can't go there because the pawn, or here, but he can go there. So he has to sidestep it, and you just queen. Where he made the mistake was going back this way. Had he went like this, okay, then he could go here and following that same thing, check, check, check. He would go here, okay, like this, and go here. Now when he does it, check, he goes right there and it's a draw. It's a dead draw. He'll never make progress. He'll never be able to get anywhere because he's got to stay near the pawn. He ever moves away from it, dead. So with him right there like that, he goes here and it's a stalemate. Pawn, pawn, king, king. King's got that pawn. He's got nowhere to go. It's a stalemate. No win, no loss. And it all happened from back here when he was back here with this same idea. Every time that he would go like this, he'd be like this, and the guy would go over, and he'd say check. And the idea behind it, called the opposition, the idea behind it is essentially this, that if you always have one square away, 2 squares won't work. 3 squares will. 4 squares won't. So the common denominator is 1 is an odd number, 3 is an odd number, 2 is even, 4 is even. Even numbered squares won't cut it. They won't do it. It won't work. But if whoever gets where they're opposing, that's why it's called opposition, whoever can get there and have those odd number of squares in between, then they're going to win because they force the other guy to give way. Like if you're right here, black's here, he's got to go here or here, and if he goes here, you get right on by him. If he goes here, you get right on by him.
I gotta leave. At least I know what you're doing now.
Yeah, thanks for stopping by, Mike.
But you guys, you put a lot of thought into that.
Yeah, I'm just trying to show them, like I did tonight, just take the book, and even though the book is copyright, if you need to show something from the book to prove it's in the book and prove you didn't make that up, well, you can show them, you know, here, look, right here, it's in the book. I'll show you the page. You know, but the book is just showing moves. The book is not explaining all this other that I've been going over and over.
I was going to say one of these days I'll play a game with you. You're way ahead of me.
Oh, that's okay.
I mean, standing there watching you do that stuff, you know, the only question I had was that one deal when you moved.
Oh, the castling, yeah.
What I call a rook around.
There's a lot of ways to make the game
I
fun.
Remembered everything else, you know, pawns can move out at the beginning of the game, could move 2 or 1, and they can move sideways.
Yeah.
But then after they move to 2 at the beginning, then they can only move
just
1.
one, yeah, like little turtles.
Your bishop go this way.
Diagonals, yeah. Angles.
Can go straight,
yeah.
Sideways,
yeah.
And then what I call the knight goes 2 and then 1 square over.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
And then the queen is kind of goes anywhere.
Oh yeah, and then she can go anywhere far as she wants.
The king can only move 1 square at a time.
Yeah, anywhere, but just one little step at a time.
Yeah.
Like a turtle.
But you have you're way ahead of me.
Well, what we do to make the game more fun is we play with a little clock. It's 2 little clocks.
Yeah,
it's like a little timer.
Yeah.
And you set the time. One person gets like a minute and the other person gets about 10 or 15 minutes. And it gets funny watching them play because the fella with only a minute, he's just a hurry, you know, chop, chop. Because he only got a minute. He's got a minute to get it all done, everything he's going to do, he's only got a minute to do it. But the other fella, he's got 10 or 15 minutes, so he take his time, you know.
Yeah, he can sit there and think.
Yeah,
5, 6
and
minutes.
what they did before they had clocks, before they used clocks, or in like some of your like third world countries where they don't have a clock, what they'll do is they'll take off a pawn, and some of them they'll take off a pawn, then they'll take off a knight. Some of them will play, those are called odds games, like rook odds means I'll play missing one of my rooks. Or what they would do too is they'd play this called queen odds. They be like, well, play me without your queen. Play me without your queen. And these guys would win in the 1700s, 1800s. They'd actually win because they played without the queen or without the rook, but they knew how their game was way up here. And they knew how to work all the pieces together. Where if you get beginners that just come out here, I'm going to go knocking everybody down with my queen.
That's me. That's me. I'm going to leave.
Oh, you're welcome.
Take care.
Stop by anytime. You're welcome. So, YouTube, that's an example. The difference being between if you just read the book versus if you actually understand what the book's talking about. And you can see here, I'm not going to sit here and analyze it or say, oh, definitive answer, it's absolutely 1. Well, this is not absolutely 1. From right here, just the pawn position is not absolutely 1. The 2 key players in a pawn endgame are right here, the 2 kings. And it all depends on where that king is. If you got black's king way over here and you got white's king up here, I'd say white's pretty well won that one. And then here's one we can pretty well agree on. What if you're like this? Who do you think is going to win, white or black? If it's white's move, I think white's going to win it, because if it's white's move, he goes like this. Now he's pretty well got it. You know, he's pretty well got it. And you could sit there and argue all day and say, well, if he does this, check, take. Well, black is pretty well done. That is an easy one. That's his best move to try to block him in. But he's not going to be able to do anything because the same thing that we showed before, he's going to go right there. That's an easy win. You don't really even have to know in-game theory I think class players, you don't even have to study and take exams like I did to try to get to a grandmaster level. This is a basic win just based on the opposition, because anywhere he goes, he's got these 3 squares. So he's gonna walk on up. But we're getting off on a tangent. Let's go check on little Sandy Sue over here. She is all tangled up. No wonder she's yapping. Yep, 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 yep. Help, 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 help. I'm all tangled up. You gotta free me. You gotta free me. Help, help, help. Come here. Come here. I'll free you. Hold on. Come here. Come here. Oh gosh, you are really, oh my God, you're tangled up. You're really tangled up bad. Hold on, hold on. Hold on. Oh God, you're really tangled up. Oh man. Girl, I feel so sorry for you. I feel so sorry for you, girl. Your little rope is just wrapped all around the little wagon. Daddy loves you. Come here, Daddy loves you. Daddy will come save you. How about that? You want Daddy come save you? Huh? Say, Daddy, come save me. Daddy, you come save me right now. You gotta come save me right now. Yes, you gotta save me. I'm all tangled up and I cannot get free. Yeah, I'm all tangled up and I cannot get free. Come here, I will get you free. Come here, you will get free. Come on. Now, you're not going to get free like run the neighborhood free, but you're going to get free from being tangled up by the wagon. How about that? Is that better? There you go. There you go, little Sandy Sue. Here, watch out, watch out. So, going back to our example, that is why when it says that the position is equal, it was equal up to that move, the earlier one, before we started getting to the footnotes. It was equal up to there. We will play that back one more time. You guys can take a look at it. We'll go right back from the start. And I wish you guys a lot of luck. I also teach online using PayPal and Skype. And that's the way a lot of the chess teachers teach it. Doesn't matter if they're grandmaster, if they're class A player, whatever the level that they're at. The game is not about, well, what level are you at? I gotta see, like, what's your official FIDE number? And then therefore, if you've got this FIDE number and I hire you and you're my coach, well, then I can say, oh, okay, go get your FIDE certificate for Grandmaster. And then I can say, well, I'm taking lessons from a Grandmaster, so that just proves they know more. Do you know how many international masters, IMs, versus Grandmasters, GM, have won? You know how many times an IM has beat a GM? Well, here's the basic question. When you have to make your norms, you have to beat other GMs. So yes, IMs can beat GMs. And there are people that are IMs that don't get the Grandmaster norm, Come here, sweetheart. Come here, sweetie pie. Come here. Your daddy loves you. Yes, I know. You don't. I want to go home, Daddy. Hold on. I bet you do. Hold on. Now, here's the way it works. It doesn't matter so much about the rating when you're looking for a coach or a teacher. Get somebody like myself, you know. Do I have the FIDE Grandmaster certificate? Nope, not at all. So how did I get to anything remotely Grandmaster status or 2600 playing strength? 600 exams, my friends. 600. 600 like this here, like these. 600 tests where you go over and you, not a solitaire chess, there's other tests too, but where you go over games, you find the winning moves, you take your score, you average all those scores together, and that's what gives you your amount. Got to get my reading glasses now. Okay, and I'm back, and we actually have good battery now. We can wrap this up. All right, now we're gonna play C4, E5. Sandy, quit. Quit. You're gonna drive me crazy. Okay, goes to D6, remember? Goes to D6. Now immediately goes out, right? Takes, and then they're going to bring them back to D2, okay? Now, they'll get this out, the knight out. They'll bring this up. Well, they'll bring it up helping to secure the pawn, but mostly to get the bishop out, okay? So, as soon as they play that, they go here. And then it's kind of a race to see who can get there first. Okay. From here, black works on king safety right away, castles. Okay. And then hits the center, the long diagonal, but hits the center. And partly because knowing this is coming, this D5 is coming, you need to do that now, okay? But they're gonna put this here on this semi-open file. Go over. Now, black hits the center. They're going to take, okay. You say, what was the purpose of that? How is that even? Hold on, back up. You lost me there. Why is he giving up a bishop for this knight? Okay, here's the reason why. Look here, 1, 2. Defenders, right? You got a knight as a defender, a knight as an attacker. Queen defender, queen attacker. Then you got another one, bishop, and you've got nothing. There's nothing there. So, if he takes the knight now, give up the knight to remove the bishop, you could even classify that under tactics similar to removing the defender. Okay? Because now, there you go. And that, my friend, is considered dead even from right there. From that spot right there, the position is dead even. Well, I disagree. I don't say that it's dead even, I just say there's equal chances. And one key being, if you look at these queenside pawns right here, and then you look at, there's only two. Black has a queenside majority. White has a kingside majority. So a lot of stuff is going to be happening over here on the king side for white. So we go back over to our footnote 189. Okay. We will get there, my friend. We will get there. Hold on. I think I forgot one where I'm supposed to castle for white. Nope. Didn't forget one. Nope. White never castled yet. I'll let you see it. See it for yourself. Never castled. See, only black castled. So for those of you that might have missed a move or said, oh, wait a minute, I think he castled already. No, he didn't castle already. Now, it is knight takes d5. Bishop takes bishop. Okay. Rook goes over, gets off the dark squares because you got this bishop. You need to get off the dark squares. See? Bishop, you got to get off the dark squares. This does not help your cause. You might as well put the rook on this now open file. You might as well. Well, you've got from here, you've got two choices that you can do. If you don't want the queen to just take the bishop, and then they're going to take your knight, you're just going to trade one for one. You've got to pretty much do that, which is a forced move. Then bishop will retreat. You got opposite colored bishops in game, pretty much drawn. Most opposite colored bishops are drawish in games. So you have light square bishop, dark square. And you say, well, who has the bad bishop? Well, if you count the total, you look over here on the king side, he's got plenty of access, but so does white. Now he's got one pawn in the way right here. See, one pawn in the way, blocking him in. He can't do anything. And over here, he's got two of them that are on the same color as the bishop. So I would say that white would have more of the bad bishop, with 1, 2, 3 squares being the same, or diagonals. You have 1, 2, 3 diagonals. Whereas if you look over here, this is open, this is all open, this is all open. On the queen side, he's not going to retreat. But if I had to pick it, leave it in the comments below. If I myself, my own personal choice, if I had to say who had a little bit better bishop, I would say black. Black has a little bit more freedom and open lines. And also, I think when we follow this up in another move or two, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's going to pull back. It's going to go to here. And then it's going to go here, E3, C6. It's going to go knight F4. No, wait a minute. Wait a minute. No, 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 no. No, no, that's not it. He doesn't do that. It's just that. E3, C6. Now, from right there, they're saying that's a level position. I would kind of disagree. I don't see that as being a level position. Maybe there are those of you that are a little better at the middle game, or you might be a little better at the end game than I am. You might see something there. Right off the top of my head, I can see that white has not castled. It's going to cost him a move to castle. So black should be a tempo up. Also, with the queen and rook, as soon as this goes wherever to do whatever, you know, if this goes here, you say, oh, well, he could just keep attacking it. That's fine. You want to do that? That's fine. But where's he going to go? You know, is he going to go back? Is he going to go here? He can't go there. So is he going to go here and be threatened by those pawns, at least eventually? Is he going to retreat here? Is he going to come back to here and risk the doubled pawns? Probably not. But wherever he goes, it doesn't matter. And he can sit right there and he can decide to play what we did earlier, take. Oh, well, nope. Nope. Nope, wait a minute. Oh, nope. Sorry, Charlie. Can't do that. You can't do that, dude. Actually, white can't do that because he puts his king in check. But having this rook on this area here, white has to castle now, most likely. I don't know without actually looking at the game. But he needs to castle now so he can do something on that. Okay? And then from the black side, he has a bad rook because it's sitting in the corner. It's not anywhere on anything where he can get anything going. But he has a good bishop. He's got this long diagonal, but I don't think that the play in the c6 is so much to threaten the knight as it is the classic saying, bishop bites on granite. Bishop bites on granite. By playing this, yes, it attacks the knight, but if you think long-term strategy and you think positional play, what it's doing more than trying to threaten the knight is it's cutting down this long diagonal. See where the rook is? Can you see it better now? Long diagonal. He can't move the pawns. He can't get anything going because the rook is open to attack. But if he comes back and does this instead, you know, then no matter where he goes to retreat, okay, this bishop can never go to here. His knight cannot go back there. And the bishop basically can't go here because of that. He could try to go now, of course, with the knight like this. He could try to go here or put the knight here. But there's a lot of what ifs going on there, my friend. A lot of what if he goes here? What if he goes there? And I'm just saying, just thinking off the top of my head, that this move is not so much to try to trade pieces. Well, because obviously he can't do anything. Because if he castles, check this out. He castles, then no matter where you go with this knight, okay, no matter where you go, whether you go straight over here, whether you go back, whatever, let's say you just go straight back, all right, and that may not be the best move. I'm kind of sleep deprived right now, so don't try to get me to do analysis in my head just on the fly. I'm not going to do perfect analysis on the fly. I'm going to tell you that right now. So what'll happen is when he castles, it gives black the tempo to retreat. Now white has to retreat. And what do you think happens if he wants to remove the queens? Trade, trade. Guess what's going to happen here, my friend? Take. If you get into simplification and you get into a trading game and you say, oh, but he has the advantage now. What's that about that advantage thing you were talking about? He can't post his rook here. Well, he could simply take, but you know what the winning move is in this situation? The reason I think black would be winning? Can anybody say on freebie? Freebie, hello, freebie. Because if you take and you say check, okay, you say check, that's called a spite check. They're checking you out of spite. Now you have this bishop still biting on granite, cannot attack that pawn. You have bishop opposite color, but you have bishop and knight against bishop. And the pawns are all even. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pawns, right? 3 over here, 3 over here. Pawns are even. Black should win it. And I would even go so far as to say in this position, it is what is called a forced win. I spot that right off, just right away like this. Like, bam, instantly. Forced win, that is an easy win. Having that extra piece, the knight, the bishop and the knight together should be able to walk these pawns down here and create a pass pawn. And if they have to sacrifice one of the pieces to get rid of this last piece, then I don't think that, and any other grandmasters out there watching the video, chime in, I don't think that the one extra pawn on the king side, if the kings maintain opposition, if black can maintain the opposition, I don't think that the one extra pawn is going to be a match for the knight and a pass pawn over here on the queen side. If black uses their pawn majority, 3 versus 2, and they're able to trade out something, preferably the knight stopping the bishop, and then you have a bishop, you should be able to use that bishop to create a pass pawn either on the knight file, I would say knight file, or the bishop file. I don't see it happening over here in the rook file and thinking, oh, the king is so far away. By the time that you get down to that point in the game, that particular position where it's just kings like it is now, but it's just the kings maintaining opposition on the queen side, and you're using your 3 versus 2 majority so that you can try to walk one of your pawns through by force, which we know, all of us that have studied pawn endings know that 3 versus 2, you can create a pass pawn if you do it right. And it all depends how far advanced are these pawns. If they're just like they are now, you might be able to keep the knight on the board and keep the bishop tied up to the king side. Because like here, they're going to try for what's called a minority attack and try to put the brakes on all black's activity, but I'm laying odds. I mean, here's the position. There you go. These are all pawns. If you can't make it out in the video, those are pawns.
right here. Those are pawns. King, knight, bishop. Those are pawns you could see, obviously. That's a bishop right there. That's king, pawns. Set up that position on your computer and see if your computer says I'm right or wrong. My gut level instinct, my experience, and my intuition tells me that black has a forced win. And it has something to do with the extra piece and the extra pawn, that material advantage on the queen side. And these kings being over here, they're in opposition now, but these kings, well, they're almost in opposition. They need to be one square closer. Somebody needs to be one square closer. If they were like this, they would have the long distant opposition. You have opposition, which is like, let's go like this, for lack of a better way to explain it to you. This is opposition, the way I learned it from Bruce Pandolfini's Endgame book and his dictionary for chess. This is opposition, okay? Ooh, hate bugs. That's opposition, okay? When you get 3 squares in between, that's distant opposition. So 1 square, opposition, okay? 3 squares, distant opposition. 5 squares, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, is called long distant opposition. So I hope that some of you learned something, hopefully. But for all intents and purposes, at least theoretically, they should have the opposition now. Because the kings, being these odd number of squares, would have the long distant opposition. And you can further divide it down to opposition on a file, a diagonal, a rank, but you don't have to be nitpicky. You don't have to be nitpicky. Oh, let me see, it's the long distant file opposition. You don't have to be that much nitpicky. Nope. But I hope that you learned something tonight in our example. And I will wrap this up on A21. And we got our little bookmark. Now, let me get a seat here. What I was saying earlier, when you look at the position in the book and it says equal, you might just look at the book and say, oh, the assessment, it's even. Well, like I said earlier, look at all the factors: tactical, strategic, positional. And I would even go so far as to look at endgame factors, various endgame factors. But immediately look at tactically, and then look at strategically, and then look at positionally in that order. I would first look at strategic or strategy factors. That, if you want to make it simple, write the word strategy and write all the things that have to do with strategy, and then you write positional play and all the things underneath it that have to do with positional play or positional factors. And that is a really good way to evaluate a position, what's called a multifaceted approach. Don't just look at it from a standpoint of tactics. Look at it from tactics, strategy, positional play, in-game play. And when you have those four, the 4 keys, the 4 corners, like on a chessboard, 4 corners, okay, you should be able to do it no problem. you should be able to look at it and say, I think it's drawn, that's why it has an equal sign, or I think it's level, it's equal chances. It's either one or the other. It's either equal sign because there's equal chances for both people, or it's an equal sign because it's equal, it's level, it's a dead drawn position. Nobody's going to make any headway. And in this case, where I showed that white made a few mistakes, being, you know, gung-ho there to trade pieces, he left one of his pieces hanging, like the one where we showed the example. Remember, the knight was up here and there was the queen takes queen, rook takes queen, he puts it over, rook takes back. What he might have been counting on in that situation where you would have the knight sitting here is that knight protects rook, knight protects rook. Remember when there was a rook here? Each one protects the other. But it is a tactical oversight, and it is a simple tactic called removing the defender. That if he, actually you'd have both, removing the defender and en prise, but mostly en prise. Once he takes down here, okay, the example we used earlier, once he takes down here and you take back, I don't remember exactly how that one played out, but somewhere in there, I remember, unless I missed a move, I remember this knight hanging, the knight just sitting there and saying, oh, easy shot, bam, easy win there on that one, because I don't think that he could really play that out, being a piece down. If he dropped a piece, if that's what he was counting on, it's not that exact square, but you get the idea. It was like this. It was similar to this. It was like this. You guys would remember this. Just like this here. And he took, okay. And then it was like this, takes, he becomes too aggressive at that point. When he takes, even if there was another one down there and he had the last piece and somehow he took, okay, I think, no, I don't think it was that way. I think it was, there was a piece here he took and this piece covered it. The king would have been here, but I don't know. I'm so sleep deprived. I'm probably missing something. I'm just thinking out loud. You'll have to pause the video, rewind it, back up the video and look at it, and then you'll be able to spot it. But I remember in there being, this was sitting right there, there was that tactical oversight where I think it was, he took something here and this came over somehow in there. I remember this knight being able to come over and have that protected. But I think before that, there might have been something like this, where each one was protecting each other. And I think that's where it was. Yeah, I think it was like this, and he was going to challenge for the file, and then I saw the tactical shot right there that he would lose. Because the more I think about it, I think that was it. I think it was the tactical shot that was the losing. I'm so, yeah. thirsty and sleep deprived. But I think that was the tactical shot. I don't think it was here. I think it was from here. I don't think there was anything on E, the rook on E. Black had a rook on E, but then went over. I think that was the tactical shot right there, is that the minute he challenged for here, thinking, oh, let's see, he's got it guarded, I'll go here, and then if he takes my rook, I've got it covered. But if I take his, he has to take me back, or I'm up a piece, and then I can move and I can escape, and I've got a knight and a bishop, knight and a bishop. Tactical flaw, my friend. Tactical flaw, or tactically flawed. Because the reason being that the minute he does that, it is the losing move of the game. Chime in and tell me if you see something different, if you don't think that's the losing move of the game. I think it is the losing move of the game because the tactical shot on the knight. You have that tactical shot on the knight, which is pretty well done, because if he does anything at all, you know, he could, in theory, he could go to here. Now, if you were to take the rook, he could take you back and you wouldn't really gain a piece. But, my friend, let me show you why that indeedy is tactically flawed. That's why that's tactically flawed. Because no matter how you play that out, as soon, and I mean as soon, as this happens, that shot comes, free shot, picks up the knight. Now with the rooks off the board, like we said, if you go to here, you take, go back, you've got opposite bishops, but you still got that one knight ahead, you're still a piece ahead. If, on the other hand, if you play attack like a maniac, let's attack like a maniac, and says check, knowing full well he's going to just pick it off with the knight, you're still going to lose, because they've got a knight and a bishop, and you've just got a bishop. So I would say conclusive proof, or conclusively, this is, without a doubt, absolutely the losing move of the game. That is the losing move of the game. If Black's got that, ownership of that file, that open file, not semi-open, that completely open file, he owns and controls that open file for now, until that knight moves. As long as that knight is in the path of that bishop, that right there is a losing move. Can anybody see that? So YouTube, you have got a chance to see how we teach chess at PC Chess Club, and this was just thinking out loud over the end game. It's not sitting down with a notepad, it's not sitting down with table bases, it's not sitting down with databases, it's not running statistical analysis or applied statistical analysis, or any one of probably a dozen different strategies, ideas, principles that you can use for in-game play. It's just me doing, as I often do, a raw video like that, like that, like that, like that, just thinking out loud, just right off the top of my head. Bam. Now,
if you were to go through and do the same thing for these lines in the ECO, you might do like I did in the middle game or the end game section and play less than optimal moves. I'm not saying that I'm going to play the middle game or the end game perfectly. I'm probably far from it. And I think that even Jacob Agard, friend of ours on Facebook, hello, shout out to you, Jacob. I think that Jacob would actually look at that position and probably agree that that is the losing move. You wouldn't even have to be a grandmaster, but early on where we ended on footnote 189, we ended with the C6E3, the one that we had early on where they were like this, where we still had, when we still had the rooks and queens on the board, all the other pieces. I think that Jacob would probably do the initial assessment on that. You'll have to, if you're watching the video, Jacob, you'll have to back it up to, what was the move? Was it 16? Let me pull that up for you, Jacob. And thanks for the new book that you did. Your book on endgame play. It's good reading. I think it's a wonderful book. So a shout out for Jacob's book on endgame play. Yeah, 16. Jacob, you can pull up the game, or anybody can pull up the game. It is U, first name letter U, last name Z-A-K versus Zilberman, Z-I-L-B-E-R-M-A-N, Tel Aviv. That is T-E-L, for those of you that do not know the Israeli spelling. Second word, A-V-I-V. Game was played 1991. And it ended with move 16. This is ECO Volume A, 4th edition, Jacob. And it ends with E3C6 being equal. I kind of disagreed with the ECO assessment. I thought that the game was not dead drawn, but I thought it was more like equal chances. I thought that, whoo, damn. I thought that's a big bug, man. Freaking giant bug. God. What I thought was, when I looked at the position on move 16 for black, what I saw, and I may be missing something, so, you know, I get some humble pie and may be humbled by Jacob's assessment or any other Grandmaster's assessment. What I saw was, I saw black having a slight advantage during the early stages of the middle game. So when I read that equal assessment, what I got out of it was that black had a little bit better chances early on in the middle game because of how he had his pawn structure and his pieces. And then I thought white might have equal chances to try to draw. And how is that? If he could try to use the theme, the minority attack, if he could try to slow down the activity on the queen side, try to keep the pieces on the board, not trade pieces, but keep the pieces on the board, and use his pawn majority on the king side to try to tie down black's king over here. I saw them going into an endgame, Jacob, and I saw it as being a kind of drawish endgame. Chances for both sides. Well, it should be this way. Both chances on both sides of the board, but chances for both sides if white could make it to the endgame. But
early on from move 16, you're just getting out of the opening and you're just going into the middle game, was my perception. You're in the middle game, yes, but you're still in the early stages of the middle game. And that was my initial assessment. So if anybody can prove it to me with Houdini or Komodo, one of the top engines, then if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But like a lot of people, whether IM or GM or even below that, we often do not make a perfect move like that over the board. Just right off the top of your head, not even Magnus Carlsen. And a lot of people can play armchair quarterback. You know, you can sit there and you can talk about what could have been or should have been or might have been, or, you know, how the computer would play it, how the engines would play it, and multiple engines would all come up with these moves. Maybe you name a move and say, oh, I've looked at 3 or 4 top engines and they all say trade, 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 trade pieces. And that could be any piece on the board. And they say white should trade. And then you'll meet grandmasters that'll say, but I think the engines do not consider all the positional factors. Yes, tactically, maybe white should trade. I'm just giving you a hypothetical, okay, just for the sake of argument. Set up any position where either side can trade, and if you get an engine that says, okay, white should trade, there's going to be grandmasters that are going to say, that engine, I don't give a damn what that engine says. It is missing the positional factors. I am not going to trade them. I'm going to let them come to me. I'm going to let them trade me. Not, I'm going to trade them down. I'm going to let them trade me down. Let them trade with me, not me go out there and start trading to trade and trade. I don't want to get out there and just go trade, trade, trade. So in that instance, there might be situations where, like I said in my assessment, I thought white had the chances by keeping the pieces on the board, not by trading them off. But I did think, as we can point out here, once this guy moves, this bishop does not have a lot of play on the queen side. And there's a number of different ways, no matter where this guy goes this night, there's a number of different ways that you can guard that pawn so that this pawn can get moving, and this bishop will never be able to pick off that pawn. Yeah, never. Not in a million years. But that is something I would say read Dvoretsky's book, Mark's book on defense, or read Jacob's book. Jacob did a good book on that, on defense. He's got a good one. And there is another one. I can't think of who the author is. You guys could chime in on the comments below. It is a classic book on defense in chess. I cannot remember the name or the title, but it is a classic book that most IMs and GMs grew up on or grew up reading, and it's a classic book on defense for how to learn everything about defense. I think Andy did one, Soltis, I think he did one on defense, if my memory serves me right. It's a pretty good book on defense. I know one of the best on strategy, if you can find it, is a 3-volume set by Pachman, or Pachman, Pachman like a video game. Ludek Pachman, P-A-C-H-M-A-N. We've got the 3-volume set on strategy, and they're pretty thick. They're several hundred pages each. Yeah, it's over 900 pages when the set that I got. I think it's over 900. I may stand corrected, but I think it's over 900 pages because I'm thinking that each one is around 300 pages and there's 3 volumes.
But I'm done. We're gonna wrap this up, take these doggies home. Look at them. Here's Shadow Baby. Oh, we can't see you, Shadow. We gotta get where we can see you. They got lights out here, but it's so dark. It's so dark, we can't hardly see, can we? No. So you guys, that's a wrap on this video, and we only got a little bit done. You can see that we go a little bit more in depth on explanations and try to be very thorough at PC Chess Club. It's not about memorization here. It's more about understanding and pattern recognition, being able to apply what you learn over the board. That's going to help you more than memorizing books. Understanding what you read and being able to adapt it and apply it to real world over the board games, that's going to help you the most to be a stronger player and to win games. So that's it. I'm out. Thanks for watching, and we will try to make another better video tomorrow when we have sunlight on Memorial Day. So that's it. That's a wrap for today. Thanks for watching.